tutorials. Wanted to create a video for you and share a little bit about the phases that I go through in creating a website. Now everybody has their own process and phases that they go through when they're creating a website. Everyone has their unique approach, but wanted to go through those steps with you. My approach puts a lot of emphasis on a research phase, research and strategy phase at the beginning of the website creation process. So if you're in the website, there's a document at the bottom of the page that you can click and drag, drop it onto your desktop, and it's the phases that I go through. I'm going to be using that as a guide as I go through this video for you and talk about each of those action items in each of the phases. So here we go. First and foremost, that first phase is the planning and research phase. Okay. When creating your website, it's essential to not just start talking about what does it look like, what is it going to look like, what pages you want, and without doing research. First and foremost, you're gonna want to look into a competitor analysis. In a competitor analysis, what that involves is looking at, first off, your local competitors and seeing what they're creating. And then also competitors in other markets, in other states, because you may not be able to gather all the questions that you're looking for within your local market. So things to look for through the competitor analysis are what kind of content people are creating, such as images, text, videos. We're looking at the pages that they're creating, what product pages or service pages that they have. You're looking at the branding and positioning approach, especially of your local market. Branding, you're wanting to know, how they present themselves, what their business personality is. In positioning, you're looking for what is their unique proposition. Do they specialize in a specific product? Are they trying to go for we have the cheapest price approach? All right. So that's, if you for your own company haven't gone through a branding and positioning process, this competitor analysis is going to help you understand what approach is going to work best for your positioning and help you a little bit with your branding also. Okay. The keyword research is looking at what people are searching on the web as they're doing product research into your product or service. Okay. As marketers, we have access to Google's database to see what keywords are being searched as people are looking for your product or service. This gives us insight as to what pages need to be created within your website. In a competitor analysis, you may not be able to identify what pages you need to be creating because oftentimes competitors haven't done that research themselves. Okay, so having that keyword research is going to help you put yourself ahead of your competitors if they haven't done that kind of research already. All right. Reaffirming the business goals. Okay, so you as the business owner and the web creator need to have a meeting, obviously at the beginning, and discuss those kinds of details. Is like, what is your goal? What do you want to accomplish with your website? And that gives the web team an understanding of what kind of widgets need to be created. What is your branding and strategy? All that critical information that we're going to need in order to meet your goals. Okay. Establish team roles and responsibilities. All right. Now, even if you have a small team of 3, that conversation is much shorter. But working with larger companies, if you're a larger company and you have a large marketing team of 9 or even 20 people involved in this process, it's important to discuss with your development team, if you're outsourcing or even in-house, who the other people are that they are going to be working with, and know at what point they're going to be working with those individuals. Okay, who are the key decision makers that they're working with, and how to contact them, etc. The workflow and timeline budget. Okay, if this is an extensive and very large website, it's important to map out completion times of the phases for when creating your website, of the phases that are going to take place when you're creating your website. So you have benchmarks to look out for. Okay. So let's go ahead and go to phase 2, understanding the users. You want to understand us as the creators, the web creators, need to understand who the users are. Through a consumer research, we are looking for, say, keyword research is actually part of consumer research. So in that process, we're looking at trends of what's happening to your consumers. But also for us, it's important to ask you, the business owner, if you're a business owner watching this, who is your target market? Who are the segments of your consumer groups? And what makes them tick? What makes them not tick? What products and services are most important to them? Okay, so that can be done in a strategy of like a SWOT analysis, where we're asking you what your strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, trends, and threats are. In that process, we're wanting to understand who your consumer is, and what's working for you and what's not working for you. All right. Now, going further into that phase, the mobile experience, consider the social experience. What social channels are your users on? That should be asked during that meeting, is what social media channels are you using, and what's working, what's not working. That's going to play into your website, because sometimes you want to funnel your users into those social media channels, and that's one of the goals that you have. All right, so let's go into phase 3 here, building the content strategy. Forecast a 6-month content rollout. Okay, after you've done a lot of research and you've had those meetings and you understand who the users are, you're starting to think about what kind of content you're going to need to create in order to get just the base of your website up and going. This could be videos, it could be content. Okay, next bullet point here is developing the SEO content strategy. The SEO strategy is your optimization and what kind of pages you're going to be building out. Optimizing videos, images, headers are critical, alt tags, meta descriptions. Okay, that's going to come later, but you want to start thinking about that now. One part of your team who's in charge of that, or us, if it's me creating that for you, by that phase, I'm thinking about how we're going to optimize that content and get these pages ranked. Okay, and then that's going to tie into a lot of the suggestions of content that I'm going to want to create for you in order to achieve that goal. Okay. At that phase, you're evaluating the social media channels still, building that sitemap. That sitemap is a pretty much a layout of the pages that are going to be included into the entire website. All right. So phase 4, we're now into creating the prototypes, building the site wireframe. What that wireframe is about is it's just like the blueprint pretty much of each of the pages, and how it's going to be structured. And during that point, it's important for the web creators to meet with the decision makers and anyone else that's a key decision maker and look at that wireframe and see what's happening. And even distribute it amongst the team, because the more people involved in looking at that wireframe, the more suggestions can be gathered. And at that point, it's important to know definitively how that website is going to be structured. Okay, you're going to get hopefully suggestions from within your team, absolutely suggestions from me as far as how to improve on that wireframe, and that then rolls into the next phase. Okay, and there's other bullet points there, action items that I'm skipping, but I want to go over some of the most critical ones. Okay, so the next phase 5, is the visual and optimization. I'm going to skip down here to consider all relevant devices, okay, and produce all text, photography, and video. Okay, by this point, you've got your wireframe, you've done your research, and you're rolling into that content creation phase. Now, if you're a large company and you are having to gather content from so many different sources, it can be a very long and drawn out process. So it's better actually to, once you've gotten that research done, looked into the competitors and consumers, start thinking about creating that content as soon as possible. Okay, because it could be a very long drawn out process. So optimize content for search engines. That's, making sure you have the right headers, your H tags that are going to be catchy, and then also that are going to be good for optimization. Google looks at your H tags as one of the components or elements in their algorithm to determine if you should be ranked or not. Okay, there's many variables that play into your SEO. Those are just a few and to consider. So now let's go into that last phase there, the launch and monitor. You're going to want to go through a beta launch. What you're doing in that beta phase is you're pushing your website out to your internal team for them to have a look at. The point of that is to catch any kind of bugs, any opportunities for improvement, and getting feedback before it actually goes live. All right. Once you've gone through a few cycles of getting feedback and optimizing, improving, then you're ready to launch. Once you go live, you're wanting to make sure that you're tracking the performance of that site. Okay, and that's your Google Analytics or any other tool out that you're using in order to track your on-site user behavior. Google Analytics is probably the most popular one out there, and what it's doing for you is seeing how many users are coming to your site, what pages are being visited the most, how long people are on your site, etc. So getting your website associated with your Google Analytics account will get that tracked and going for you. All right, so hopefully that helps you guys understand more about my process and what's involved, especially in that research phase. For you business owners out there who have created a website out there before and haven't seen that research phase or didn't have that research phase done, I'm sure you're thinking to yourself, that would have been very helpful. Next go around, contact me. I'll be happy to help you in conducting that kind of research so that you get it done right and you're not having to recreate your site. Unfortunately, I've seen that happen too often. So contact me. For any of you marketers out there who are watching this, feel free to reach out to me. I'm happy to share any more of my process with you, and so that's available. If you're in YouTube watching this, be sure to subscribe. If you're in the website right now, I highly suggest going to the research and strategy page. Within there, I give a video of one of my research and strategy approaches for a website that I was working on. So be sure to check that out. All right, guys, have a good one.